I kind of like look at. Is this weird? If you were doing the set list like for this show, would you look at like what we did the last night? We played 2019 at the Ostrava, it's called, and then we played. You can't hear me, can you? Sorry. We played in 2019 in the Ostrava Festival, right? And then we played here in 2016. So I bear in mind what we did and didn't play. I don't think. Oh, fuck. The first song we're going to play on this encore is a song that we've only played a couple of times because it's a new song. This is called I Could Never Say Goodbye.
Cool. So, we'll say hello and welcome to a tour update. This is Gavin for the Holy Hour podcast, and I'm joined by Antonio. How's it going, my man?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Not much. Yeah, just trying to keep afloat with all this damn... Every night there's a new show. I'm trying to document them all.
But not where we are.
But not here. Yeah, it's great. So, while Chaz was frustrated early on and jealousy and all that, I'm slowly just crumbling with each show that goes by now. I'm just like, now another one and another one. And by the time December rolls around, I'm just going to be like a total mess.
It's like you have this. Your patience is a house built of toothpicks, and every show you remove one. Yeah, and it's like, and then you're like, just come here, god damn it! It's like it doesn't help that I'm getting constant updates from other bands about their 2023 dates, and it's like, oh, well, they're not giving any updates about a 2023 tour. I'm like, will it even happen?
Why is it not here? Yeah, I'm not quite ready to accept that denial yet, but I think it is worth getting a little worried about maybe, but I don't know. So any day now, we're going to get a big old announcement coming over here, 2023. But
now, you know what hasn't really happened so far on the tour?
What's that?
I'm not really seeing any interviews.
Yeah.
So, sometimes, every time you get into a new city or even a new country, you'd figure like the big maybe magazine around there'd be some form of press involved or the big radio station. But I don't think he's spoken to anyone since it started.
I feel like I would be like more like he's dodging it and all the big questions, but I feel like they've done that on the last few, like even in 2016 tour, they didn't really do any. And for the festivals, I think he kind of just had enough with that somewhere around I think 2004 tour for the self-titled was like the last time he was doing anything like that, so hopefully they'll get a few. I think there was a few in there at least, huge major kind of intersections of something,
exactly.
But yeah,
especially with an alleged new record.
Yeah, exactly. So
but that's the question. That's the question he does not want.
Yeah, he's totally dodging that shit. He's like, next question, please.
Yeah, exactly.
But
he'll just ramble about the Queen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fuck the Queen.
But so where are we at in this tour? Let's see. We had spoke. We're in Vienna out there with the people, and just on Monday here, at the time of recording this, anyway, it's the most recent show. They have the night off today, and Monday, October 24th in Prague, the Czech Republic. They played, and it seemed like another solid awesome set, but no debuts of anything major. Like I said, it looked pretty standard from here, but I'm sure it was amazing if you were there. So yeah, just looking at it, as far as looking at the set list, it continued with the 4 new songs now, which I want to get your scoop on since we haven't had a chance to ask you about yet. But the newest one kicked off Encore number 1, which is that mysterious Encore number 1 slot that we've all been watching. But just on the top, what are you thinking of the new songs? You digging them?
Yes,
Cool.
I am digging them. I'm digging the vibe because it's essentially what he described.
Yeah.
It's very gut wrenching. And there's a lot of honesty in that.
Yeah.
So, like there's a part of me that's like, as you listen more and more and more and more, like, there were times where, sad love songs were written, but we knew he wasn't going through a breakup,
Right.
and there's other times where, the later records, it's like, well, were they writing the record just to get it out, like, and with the self-titled and everything else. But I feel like this was like, fuck, I've got a lot to say and a lot going on. And I think my biggest curiosity about it, as I am liking the songs, is what order are they going to be in? Is there this kind of flowed story? Is like, what else is in there? Is there that one semi pop punch through?
Right.
Because they all seem to have that one. So
even Blood Flowers with like Maybe Someday and stuff has those little kind of moments where it like breaks out a little bit, but this seems very just you could bleed all these right into each other. And
but then again, it's like pornography does that. So and we have that, and so it's definitely, so far, all these songs are I'm liking better than what we've had in the last couple albums.
Yeah.
So for me, it's definitely a step in the right direction. And I'm curious, by the end of the tour, how many of the songs will have heard. I'd be shocked if it was more than 4, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it seems like at a certain point they can't totally disclose the whole shebang, or which would be almost a little weirder. But maybe like one more would be cool. But I almost don't want it anymore at that point. Or it's like
because I
totally
really want
spoil it. But unless we never get the album, then it would be great.
Right? Yes, but I want that full experience of like beginning to end. We come from the generation of full records,
right?
So, maybe younger people are like, yeah, just give me all the songs kind of pieced together. But no, I fucking analyze how, this first song to the last song, to the transitions, to the, and, what's going to be the B-side when I flip it over. And,
right.
Like all those things that we know that he's thought about as well, because you're not going to untrain that after so many years. So it's different when you're going to see a band live and you get a surprise of a new song. But I will say, I think I'm not loving hearing so many songs not in their studio version, but off somebody's cell phone recording. Because it's not even like we're hearing a live recording from the board.
Right.
So
well, I'll take it because I'm caught up in the moment. It is a little frustrating because I was even like, oh man, I need to like pump the computer into this and make a little playlist of these new songs so I could listen to them. But I'm kind of like, they sound good, and some of them even sound great for a YouTube clip. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I want to be like just listening to those while I'm driving around. It still sounds like a phone.
I was enjoying seeing like Robert completely put the guitar down. I think
like
was
he's
very
really
interesting.
focusing on the vocals and
So I'm also thinking, as we were discussing, like adding, having 3 guitars now, it kind of allows that periodically. And I definitely find that super interesting. I'm also thinking, like again, production wise, when we hear the new album, but I'm just kind of curious too when it all came about adding him.
Yeah, Adam Perry back, you mean?
Yeah, Perry back. And
Yeah.
like I'm wondering if when we get this record, if there's any writing credits by Perry, because I'm thinking to myself, could it have been everybody was so secluded from him and he wasn't from a geographical standpoint
Yeah.
that he asked him
Oh,
to come in?
yeah, who
Like
knows? Yeah, because
that's been my big curious thing about all of it, you know, and hearing
right.
the songs. Because it's like, yes, he was familiar with all these other songs, but now you've played four new ones. So he had to have been working with Robert for a while before this.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm
So at
thinking.
least,
Yeah.
yeah, it would make
So
the
so it
most
gets
sense of
so it gets
why.
those like
Right.
theories going in my head.
Yeah. And I like what you said earlier of like the whole picture of the, you wonder how much of the album is going to be like a cohesive story or something, enough where it blends as far as we start to piece together the full,
Yeah,
tale more of like,
as it has a journey, because we've already heard
right.
like grueling lyrics of like it ending, but what about the
Yeah.
lead up to the ending? You
Right.
know, or the memorial aspect of a song,
Yeah.
like talking about beautiful memories that he's had with those that he lost. Like there's
Yeah.
got to be some of that in this flow, and I think
Hmm.
that's it's making me crave that.
Yeah, and it's weird. I haven't done the full research analysis yet of the playlist, but I've been noticing that and Nothing Is Forever, now that it's settled in more after debuting during an encore, I think it's following Love Song a lot, like pretty consistently. And
Really?
there's a weird line in it too, like where it's like however far away, it almost like is like a little throwback line or something. And even
Right.
the
Oh
lyrics,
yeah.
when I haven't totally dove into them, but it's one that almost feels more like I haven't lost you yet, like kind of a thing, like a song about
Yeah.
the end with Mary or whoever, and it's kind of that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like losing somebody song where it's like we're gonna lose each other eventually, kind of thing, or you almost wonder if the whole album has this weird flow of relationships that are specific to people and things that will
Yeah.
make more
And
sense
then
when we see the full package. But
right. And then is there that song necessarily of the happy moments of him and his brother as a child, maybe? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
something like that. Yeah.
painted in a different light where it's not always referring to kind of the loss,
Right.
pre the loss. So,
Yeah.
you know, I
Pretty
mean, as
cool.
songwriters, you and I, we're gonna always analyze these things like
Yeah.
so differently, or how we would write
Set
them,
up.
or what's inspired us to write. And I get that we're all not wired the same, but
Right.
you
And
know,
yeah, who knows with the placement of these things? Like he might just want to put it after Love Song because it uses, the the
right,
same
yeah, yeah, the
guitar or
same
something.
tuning on the,
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, it's fun to analyze, and
or
I've
it's
just
like,
started to notice that pattern.
or it's like, I will always love you. You know what I mean? Like love song. It's like it sounds can sound sad, but it is happy. So it's like maybe putting it up
Blends
against it
and
because it's the feel is there, but it's
yeah,
good
it
way,
might.
bad way kind of thing. And
Yeah,
who
yeah,
knows?
yeah. I could just play off of it nice melodically. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
something to keep an eye on as these shows go. I did see in the set list too the return of Last Day of Summer had kind of popped up a couple times, but not super consistently. So that was cool that they played that on the most recent one. So I think
yeah,
we're seeing at least when one's been played. I think Trust may not have reappeared again after that first one. I don't know if it has at this point. I'm losing track, but I was gonna say it looks like at least most of these do come back at some point. The batch that we've seen of every song so far. Um, hopefully that means there's a chance for everybody going out there if that's their favorite song. Then they could pop up in the set list. The only other weird thing from Prague I noticed was on that encore one where they played the new song "I Can Never Say Goodbye," and then they played Plain Song and Disintegration, which was normal for Encore 1, but Plain Song would always kick it off. So this might be one of the very, very rare exceptions where Plain Song isn't kicking anything off. It's just in the middle of an encore, which seems really
that
weird.
is kind of strange. Yeah.
So it's like just finishing a song, then starting the chimes, and then going into it. I don't know if that's ever been done, but I'm sure somewhere. But
so yeah, Plain Song
rare.
actually, and Plain Song has not been on every set either.
Nah, it hasn't been in everyone. But it usually kicks off on Core 1 if it does.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know if there's a stat somewhere on setlist.fm if it would say that when it isn't the lead off song, whether it be the encore or the whole set. But
I definitely am digging the From the Edge of the Deep Green Sea into End Song.
Yeah.
I think those two are working very well next to each other.
Yeah.
In a cool way,
Yeah. And especially
because I feel like if you're starting to bring it down, especially like in Vienna, it's like it went Shake Dog Shake, From the Edge of the Deep Green Sea, and then End Song.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of you're trying to pull people into that feeling, but you're doing it with a song that they love, and then you're giving them the new one that's like
gut-wrenching. Very smart and very well crafted, all of these, because I think and then like Want on the Prague shows right before it, that's kind of that same vibe where it's like rocking but has a groove, and I think 39 has been around there too when they throw that in there, so it makes sense that they kind of have like a rocker, then they go into Edge of the Deep Green Sea, which is a long build but kind of rocking for sure, and then into End Song, which is like a sad rocker.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what I'm loving too, kind of in the middle of the first part of the set, the two songs that are like so fantastic together is Burn and then into Fascination Street.
Yeah, that's been pretty consistent with Cold even kicking that off. It was just back to back with Burn and Fascination Street were badass, but then it's like, oh man, if you kick it off with like Burn or Cold right before Burn,
exactly. It's like what a freaking triple threat that is right there. Like, in the meat of it, it's like it's really. It's like, oh, I'm gonna take a left-hand turn.
Right. Yeah, we gotta love that. So Figurehead was apparently on the set list for this show, but was not played. It was written
really.
Yeah, before it was supposed to be before Plain Song, so it would be a 4-song encore, which kind of sucks for people that were there. Probably just it'd be better not to even know that, But I'm sure for whatever reason they decide to skip it. It's like
like a lot of I know there are a lot of venues, even the big ones with the biggest bands. I mean, I've seen some pretty fucking big bands that have gotten the plug pulled on them because whether there's ordinances on how late you can actually go past from a legal standpoint, like all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So
they probably running low on time or something. Yeah, who knows if something might have slowed them down, or they just weren't even feeling it. I could see that being a song you just not tonight, boys. I was feeling it earlier, but I don't know. It's a pretty heavy one. So it makes sense, but that would suck if you were at that show and you knew that it was on the set list. I'm sure you've been to plenty of shows where you see the set list and they skip one that is like your favorite. You're like, curses.
And I'm like, it was on there. You lied to the paper.
Yeah, you owe us. But cool, man. Well, I guess we won't go on too long with Prague there, but it's good to hear your overall tour thoughts and stuff. So you think that it's going smoothly though, and all? You happy with
I mean, it sounds like it. Luckily, even from a logistics standpoint, from what's going on in the world, it's great that none of the shows have been canceled because somebody got COVID in the crew or any bullshit like that, so that's like massively positive. We've got to like take a look at skipping one song on one is not terrible. Again, at least there's not one show where there was 20 songs played and it was like a real pull out rug kind of situation or something.
Yeah, nothing too crazy's happened yet, so that's cool. I mean, there's still a lot of shows left. Looking at my list right here, they're like not even close to like maybe a fourth of the way, but definitely not. Yeah, they still got a good chunk. So hopefully they can keep it rolling. And I've noticed that they're starting to smile a bit more and get a little goofier up there. So I think they are starting to loosen up a bit more too, which is good to see.
Well, yeah, because not only has it been a long time since they've toured, but you're also adding, again, adding a third guitar or a second keyboard at some point, and
new songs and
new song. Yeah, so there's got to be a lot of like hope that. I mean, let's be honest, they probably didn't even rehearse all together as long as they normally do before a tour.
Right.
Yeah.
So from here they're on to where are they going next? Budapest, and then to Croatia, and coming back to Germany, Munich, by the weekend there. So we'll try to throw in some form of another update there, and we're gonna go record an actual episode now and get even more in depth on this stuff. So we'll see you after Hungary, and thanks so much for joining me, Antonio.
Yeah.
Well, hello again. Before we leave, it's been a couple days since I recorded with Antonio, and there's been 2 more shows, so I figured we'd just throw in a quick word on both those shows before we wrap up this little late night Friday recap of shows in Europe, as it seems to be taking form this way. Wednesday night we had a show in Budapest, and then again on Friday Thursday rather, was Croatia, and when this post, I believe later tonight, they'll be back in Munich in Germany. So back in Germany there for another show. So let's take a couple minutes to see what happened in Budapest and Croatia. So yeah, Wednesday, October 26th, Budapest, Hungary. They played again 27 songs. It seemed like a very similar set to Prague in the sense of what we've seen. There weren't any tour debut songs or anything. Noteworthy wise, Charlotte Sometimes was played earlier in the set when it had been kind of part of that darker Encore 1 and such, but this time it was pretty early on in the set. So this Encore 1, they did get the full planned version of what went down in Prague, it sounds like. So same songs with the new one and Plain Song and Disintegration, but they got Figurehead this time. So while it was on the playlist last time in Prague, it was actually played this time in Budapest. So a nice little treat for everybody there in Hungary. And again, Plain Song was in the middle of the encore, so almost weirder this time, just not really kicking anything off. So odd, but cool. So yeah, visually looking at the set, it looks solid and awesome. But then the best review I could have for this, I got messages from our buddy Adam out in, he lives in Australia, but he's traveled to Europe to see a couple shows and see the site and have a good trip. And he messaged me after the show. I was very excited, and I asked him, I said, hey man, can I use some of these thoughts? Because I can tell you're feeling very passionate about this. And he was kind enough to say, yeah, just our casual conversation on Instagram comments and share them with you. But I felt like it captured the after show glow that you get from seeing The Cure, and would have a better representation of the wonderful show that happened at Budapest as opposed to me just staring at the set list, drooling as usual. So yeah, he said the stadium itself was awesome. There were huge proportions of standing compared to sitting audience members too. The Cure went the long game on Melancholy, then brought it home for the final encore. And 27 songs, 4 new songs, 2 encores. It was absolutely magnificent. I think The Cure should recall every copy of Disintegration and replace that title track with the live version. So he's a big fan of Disintegration live. It may just sell about 2 million more copies, and I can't believe how much I love that song, he says. So wow, yeah, getting back to maybe that passionate, taking Disintegration back up again. I'd said it in the last one. I was a little surprised because he had been kind of bumping down the vocals a bit, and seemed like he was getting more back into it, old school style. And yeah, seems like Adam's convinced anyway. It was definitely a powerful performance, as one would imagine. Always great to have that in the set. So, I agree. I don't know if you're going to be able to recall everyone's copies of Disintegration, though. That's going to be like, nope. But I can admire the passion and love for the live versions because they are amazing. Let's see. He also said Charlotte Sometimes was magnificent. From the Edge of the Deep Green Sea was very emotional. And when I see The Cure, there is this beautiful aftertaste, but splashed with the big dose of melancholy the next day that it's all over. The fact that I'm going to go see them again in Munich is just pure awesomeness right now. So he was very excited that post-show depression didn't quite have to kick in because he was going to go see him again a couple days later in Munich, and that'll be tonight, and hopefully Adam will have just as amazing of an experience tonight as he did back in Budapest. So Sunday night, Munich, yep. Part 2, and sure happy for him to get to see this and bash around Europe. So thank you, Adam, for letting me share those words of enthusiasm from the show. I think they really do capture it a lot better than me just going, yep, cool, that's a cool song. Yeah, that one's not quite as rare, but this one is blah, 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 blah. But yeah, just a stellar set list again, and glad that he had a blast, and it seemed like it was a cool vibe in the stadium there. But before we go back to Munich in Germany, there was another show. Show number 15 was Thursday night, October 27th in Croatia. Again, was a very pretty similar set of stuff we've seen so far on the tour. No debuts, 27 songs. The 4 new songs were again included. The rarest of the evening took place in Encore 1, as usual, playing I Can Never Say Goodbye, the new song Want, and Prayers for Rain got its 3rd play of the tour, so that was pretty cool and rare that they got Prayers for Rain in Croatia. But then, on top of that, for the 4th song of the Encore, they got 100 Years, played only for the 2nd time so far on this tour. Which is pretty rad. And along those notes of how many times each song's been played and how rare of the ones they are playing, and etc. There's a fella named Adam, a different Adam, on Fans of the Cure Facebook page, Adam Davis, and he's been making these spreadsheets of the songs they've played so far, and so far it's been 42 songs played total, just in case anyone's keeping track, out of 15 shows, 42 songs total, and it'll tell you how many times each one's been played, which ones have been played every night, and etc. like that. So with 100 Years being played again, it not only made it the 2nd time that 100 Years has been played, but sadly it leaves Trust as the only song that has been played just once, and it was on that first show too, pretty early in the set, so we're all like, wow, Trust is being played, but it hasn't been played since. So hopefully they'll dig that out again and play it somewhere, because that was pretty rad, and I thought it sounded great, so it wasn't like they were like kind of struggling through it or anything, but I don't know. So interesting. If you are on Facebook and in that Fans of the Cure Facebook page, go track Adam Davis down and check out these spreadsheets, because it is pretty cool for what we're doing, where we're just kind of looking at the song titles and how many have been played and how rare and which ones have been played all the time and which versus all that kind of nerdy statistic BS that we're doing here. So pretty cool. I hope 100 Years keeps getting a few more plays. Speaking of 100 Years, I'll sign off here and just let you know that I'm going to put out an official episode on Sunday. So sorry to overload you back to back. These aren't really meant to be episodes, though. They're more for the longevity, documenting the tour here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this, and anyone listening in the future, that's what happened as far as looking at the set list in semi-real time in 2022 of the Lost World tour by The Cure. But this Sunday, we're putting out our Halloween episode, and like I said, speaking of 100 Years, we're going to look at deep dive of the lyrics of 100 Years, and we're also going to just compile what would be our spookiest Cure playlist, so you can play it on Halloween as you're handing out candy, and or if you're having a party on Sunday night, you can play it then, or just any time, really. It's a good Cure playlist of just their more spooky songs, as Antonio and Chaz and I hash out which one should make the cut and which one shouldn't. So go on over, subscribe, and get these future tour updates and our regular episodes of us just casually chit-chatting Cure talk. So that's all I got for now. I'm sorry we can't elaborate more, but you know, I wasn't there, so all I can do is really look at the set list. But I hope that helps, and hopefully Munich is an amazing show for everybody going there too. So back to Germany, and bound to be an exciting night. So like we said, they've played 42 songs at this point. It's a pretty wide range. Maybe we've seen them all at this point. Maybe we haven't. You never know with The Cure. So that's the beauty. And until next time, we'll see ya. A few more shows in. All right, take it easy. Talk hard. Happy Halloween.